Okay, welcome back to FTL. I am still collecting votes on what Type B ships you would like to see in what order, but I figured while I'm waiting on that, I'm going to go ahead and show off the Type B variant of the Kestrel, which is called the Redtail. The ship is really nice. It comes armed with 4 basic lasers, which is fantastic in the early game, and you have a very well balanced crew as well. We're going to rename it something, let's see. There we go, the Kool-Aid Man. I don't know why, it just sounds funny. And with that, I think we're ready to get going. Okay, so the layout of this ship is very different than the Kestrel Type A, as you can see. I find that it's not quite as convenient as the Kestrel's layout because you have the cockpit kind of isolated up here, which can make dealing with borders a bit of an issue sometimes, but hopefully that won't be too much trouble. It does have excellent airlock layout as far as repelling borders and dealing with fires. And you have a very nice starting crew. I'm going to get everything powered up. And starting off with a Zoltan is fantastic. I really like that. So let's make our first jump. There's a store right there, but we always like to wait on that until we get some more scrap. 1 fuel for 4 missiles. I'm not really using missile weapons, so I'd rather hang on to that 1 fuel for the time being. I'm just gonna have to go ahead and give that store a miss, I think. Here we can aid a civilian ship against some pirates. Now this is what is so good about the Redtail starting layout. You can queue up all of your weapons. Since they're all the same, they'll all fire at the same time, and you just get an instantaneous burst of 4 lasers, which is nice. And until enemies start showing up with more than 1 layer of shielding, this is actually a very powerful weapon layout. As you can see, we just completely disabled their shields on the first volley, and it does have a pretty fast reload time, so yeah, 3 salvos and this guy's going to be taken care of. It took, what, like 20 seconds? It's very nice. And if we had taken any damage there, we would have gotten our hull patched up, but since we didn't take any hits, just get a small reward. We come across an automated ship. And some people have asked me why I tend to use the mouse to target all of my weapons instead of just the hotkeys. Most of it is force of habit. It's also because, unless you're targeting a lot of the same thing, I do like the additional confirmation of having to go down, look at the thing that you're about to click on, and then click on it to confirm. But when I've got 4 of the same weapon, there's no need to worry about that, so I can just queue them all up using the keyboard. Got a solar flare coming in. Hopefully it won't land anywhere important. Nope. No problem whatsoever. Let's board the station and look for survivors. No, we lost a crew member. 20 bucks says it's our Zoltan as well. Oh no, it was our Mantis. That's too bad. Mantis have really bad luck in my playthroughs. Come across a mercenary that we're just gonna fight. One thing I do wish they had included in this game, and it would be great if they included it in a patch or a sequel if one of those ever comes out, would be a way to assign different weapons to different subgroups. So instead of having to manually target all of these weapons, I could say, okay, put all the basic layers in one fire group, so I can just target them all with 1 key press. It's not, you know, game breaking, but it would be a nice thing to add. Hey, we get a free Engi. Excellent. He can replace our poor, disease-destroyed mantis. And we will intervene to defend this outpost. Oh, somehow I powered that off. Oh, I see. I took a hit in the weapons kit. I didn't even notice. We get a pretty nice reward. Get all my guys healed up. And we're ready to move on. We can't take an enemy ship intact with our current setup, so I'm going to have to pass on this. That's an empty sector. Let's just head straight for the exit. Fuel for drone parts, no thanks. We'll just be moving on. Got a pretty hostile map this time, so it's going to be an interesting run. We take some damage, but we get a nice reward for that. Got enemy boarders. I wish I had my mantis still, but I think I can deal with these guys. What I'm going to do is I'm going to send my Engi up to continue to pilot the ship. That way my FTL drive will continue to charge while I deal with the boarders. Losing that one fight, winning the other, so I'm just going to send them straight to the med bay now and be safe. Got more fire in an empty room, but with my door control disabled, I can't actually do anything about that right now. So I'm going to have to send my Engi in to fix up the doors while I kill off the boarders. I'm just going to have to hope that my one crew member can deal with both of those guys. And jump out of here before we get any more fire on board the ship. And thankfully we end up in a friendly sector, so we're not in immediate danger. Again, we find another empty sector. And here we are facing off against an automated scout. I'm going to split up my weapons here and see if I can take out their firepower a little bit more quickly. It's kind of strange that the oxygen occupies such a big room in the ship. It usually doesn't. Excuse me. Alright. We get a little bit of hull repair, which is actually pretty nice. Come across more rebels. Oh, and they have a boarding drone. That is bad news. Really wish I hadn't lost that mantis. least I won't be fighting him in the same room that he came in. We're taking a beating. They're trying to jump away, but I don't think they're going to get away. And I'm not too worried about that boarding drone on its own. Yeah, now it's been shut down, so I don't have to worry about that anymore. Alright, and there's a store there. Another empty sector. And another rebel ship. Target their engines to make sure they don't jump away. That's a pretty good reward, but I'd rather get a little bit more scrap, actually. Well, no, economically, I do need that 6 fuel, so we'll go ahead and take it. Okay, and there's nothing particularly useful at the store, unfortunately. I'm going to upgrade my ship some before I make any decisions about shopping. Okay, now we have enough to power everything. I think I'm just going to hang on to the rest of my scrap for now. I could get drone control, but I don't really need it this early on. Alright, it's time for Sector 3. Should have bought those long-range scanners they had, but there's another store right here, so maybe it'll have something more useful. Alright, another Burst Laser. Burst Laser 2, my favorite one. That's excellent. Actually, I'm not going to swap that out until I can afford to upgrade my ship to the point where I can use it. But that should be pretty soon, so that's a pretty excellent buy. And we fly right into an ion storm. I can't believe they called me repugnant. Well, let's arm the weapons and teach these guys a lesson. I can only use 3 of my burst lasers at a time, but that should be enough to deal with these guys. One nice thing is that when you are fighting an ion storm, the ion storm affects the enemy ship as well, so they will not be able to power all of their systems. And one more volley ought to take these guys out. Yeah, there we go. And we've been boarded. It's a good thing I upgraded my door system when I did. let's see if we can figure out where these guys are. Okay, they're in this room down here. So I'm going to send all of my dudes, well, except for the Zoltan, just to keep him safe. I'm going to send these guys down to the weapons bay. Looks like there are only 3 boarders to deal with, so this fight shouldn't get too out of hand. Send my guys in to heal up before they get too injured. They're going to focus on taking down my weapons, and that's okay. No reason to leave my Engi in this fight. I'd rather my humans get the combat experience. And I'll send them in to heal up, and then we'll be on our way. Alright, we come across an automated scout. This guy doesn't have shields, so this will be a pretty simple task. There we go. I think now I can afford to upgrade my weapons. Yes. Very good. Now it's time to swap out one of the burst laser, or the basic lasers for my burst laser 2. And it's a very slight, but the only downside of this is that they do fire at the same time, so I do have to think about timing out my attacks properly now. Still, the burst laser 2 is a massive upgrade over one of these basic lasers. As seems to be usual for me, I find every empty sector in these nebulas. There's another one. And another one. There's a store down there, but I don't really have much scrap. I'm gonna have to go there though, because I am getting low on fuel. Yet another empty sector. My god. Alright, and they've only got 3 fuel. Well, go ahead and sell that burst laser just for a little tiny bit of extra scrap. Can't even really afford another reactor upgrade, but I'll take what I can get. Here, we can sell some drone parts. I'm absolutely going to do that. And like that, we are already done with this sector. Okay, so that concludes Sector 3. Pretty uneventful, all told. And I think I'm going to cut this off here, and I'll catch you guys next time when we will start exploring Sector 4.